So Elizabeth Morse has had, gosh, I'm sorry, a little bit scattered here. Elizabeth Morse has had work in various literary magazines and anthologies, as well as 2 poetry chapbooks. Unreasonable Weather, her full-length collection, was just published by Kelsey Books.
Thank you, Martha. Okay. Keep the faith. I will keep the faith every day. I will march through streets and parks against the current regime. I think of the old neighborhood, the congressman I remember, Reverend Adam Clayton Powell Jr. said, "Keep the faith, baby. Stand up against racism and against the people who live in penthouses. It's like that now with the destruction of DEI and tax breaks for the 1%. Straight white men rule again. I marched against the Vietnam War and for pro-choice, the ERA and civil rights. I will march again. Call the congressional rep I have now. Is this enough? I will keep the faith, but can't avoid thinking of white hat hacking and worse. Pray for no violence. I think of the old neighborhood, teenagers in mangled leather jackets, students with spiral notebooks, older men sitting on repurposed crates, playing dominoes, kids with violin cases, the sharp sound of firecrackers that could be gunshots, women pushing strollers and talking. Keep the baby, Faith, or not. 50 years later, we stand up against something far worse, grabbing people off the street, migrants and citizens alike, snatching confidential data, tariffs increasing prices, crashing markets. You need a passport to vote or to leave the country, whichever makes sense. Maybe martial law, good chance. Then the military will pick off protesters with AR-15s and will be as dead as Steve Biko of South Africa. Keep the faith, baby. Keep the faith every day. Don't stop watching, listening. Clasp everything you love close. I won't stop writing or marching. I will read all the books they burn. Thank you. Okay. Jennifer Baum, are you here? Okay, okay. Thought I saw you here. Oh, yeah, okay. Jennifer Baum is a memoirist and writing instructor. She is the author of Just City, Growing Up on the Upper West Side When Housing Was a Human Right, Fordham University Press, 2024.
Hi, so I'm going to read from a new book that I'm working on that combines my mother-in-law's fleeing of Morocco in the 50s with the time that I spent in France. So it's kind of somehow going to weave together. But anyway, this is an excerpt. In 2006, we spent a summer in Aix-en-Provence in the south of France so Benny could do research at an archive that documented the French colonial empire. In July, our 4-year-old son Max went to a day camp, but the camp was closed in August, the month where most everything in France shuts down for vacation. So while Benny worked, Max and I were constant companions, filling the days however we could, thrown together like 2 orphans, though he was the child and I was the mother. A few doors down from us, Max and I noticed several young children playing catch in the big front yard of their stately house. Max darted across the street, grabbing onto the black rails of the wrought iron fence. He looked at the kids, yearning to join them. The mother, a handsome woman with rugged features, approached us. In broken French, I said, "We are staying there. Can my son play with your children?" "There is a park nearby," she said. "He needs other children." We'd been alone all day. She stared at us, insisting again that there was a park a few blocks away. It was clear she wanted us gone. Who are these strangers? I imagined her saying to herself. The ball flew over the fence onto the road. Max ran to get it, throwing it back into their territory. The oldest boy caught the ball. Merci. Max clapped in delight. Again, the mother insisted. "I'm sorry." She walked away and sat in a lounge chair by the front door to her house, eyeing me. Max clutched the railing. "Let's go," I said, but he wouldn't budge. Just then, Benny arrived from the archives. The woman came over to suss out Benny. A new intruder, I imagined her thinking. Benny greeted her, and she asked if he was Belgian. The French were always trying to place Benny. Benny's French was impeccable, but his accent wasn't. They could tell he was other, but couldn't discern his origins. He'd worked hard to shed his Quebecois accent, which the French mocked, akin to the way Americans ridiculed Southerners. For Benny, who could almost pass, being slightly outside the boundaries of French identity, or just on the edge, was maddening because he didn't identify as Quebecois. He'd been raised in Montreal by a Moroccan Jewish mother and a father whose parents were Jewish immigrants from Russia. Finally, deeming it permissible to open the gate, the woman waved us in and offered us an aperitif. Immediately, Max raced over to the kids and began to play. Awkwardly, I sipped my cassis as she spoke, only picking up her meaning here and there. I asked her to repeat herself slowly. I only made this request sometimes, fearing she'd lose patience. Most people had no interest in helping me learn French. Why would they go out of their way for someone they didn't know, someone they'd already felt suspicious of? I looked up at buoyant Max, laughing, conversing in French. I wish I could have integrated as easily as Max and Benny had. We were outsiders here in France. It was clear. Even Benny, who could fit in more readily, was questioned. In New York, so many people came from elsewhere. So many spoke English with foreign accents. People's origins didn't matter, at least not initially, at the first encounter. English was the lingua franca, spoken all over the world, flexible, adaptive, embracing. On our way out, the mother said, "Next time, go to the park."
Margaret R. Saraco, author of If There Is No Wind, and Even the Dog Was Quiet, Human Error Publishing, explores themes of family, beauty, love, and activism in her work.
Thank you, Elizabeth. This is from Silence is Consent, a couple of books, anthologies I'm in for this very theme, resistance. At the onset of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, there is a picture of a child wearing a dusty pair of black shoes with white anklets and a worn red woolen coat, her chunky legs bare. I remember having a coat like that. She stands with two adults, they might be her parents, on top a gravel hill, points to something in the distance, her palms turned upwards towards the sky, as young children often do. God, does she see a blazing fire or hear gunshots? I hope she gets to safety, met with open arms. Pray she will not be left alone. At 4, she should be watching a flock of birds take flight or stare at ever-moving puffy clouds that form pictures. But a child sees what they see. This is how a war unfolds, a slip at a time. To witness a child in imminent danger and feel useless. She is only 4. The second piece is from Whisper, Whisper, Shout, an amazing anthology of women's voices and women identified. It's called We Are Being Hunted. I spend the nights in unrest, unable to communicate, in nocturnal throes that consume each moment. I am hunted through forests by politicians with guns, taking aim and missing just by a hair. I run on grass made of nails as my punishment for speaking truth to power, each nickel-plated spike piercing my skin. But when I stop, my pock-marked feet feel no pain until I look, cradle them, and cry. In my dreams, I live in shrinking homes that lose their walls in frigid temperatures, with no clothes or blankets to warm my naked body. Worse, I am unable to protect all those around me, my children, my partner, my students, my friends, my neighbors, strangers who need my help. We are all being hunted. Finally, and at last, I try and survive the night, climbing out of sinkholes while stalagmite crystals snap above my head, looking for a single path out of this dizzying labyrinth. Thank you, everyone. It's been wonderful to hear everyone. Just remember, poetry is resistance. Thank you.
Jill Maxey writes placemat poetry and essays about food, New York, jazz, Judaism, and time travel, and is assembling a memoir of unsent letters to her biological mother, excerpted in The Rumpus.
Thank you, Elizabeth and Larissa. This is called Dear Elon Musk. Dear Elon Musk, I've been thinking about what you do in the morning. Do you pray, boxers or briefs, coffee or tea, tall glass of water from the future, the water that's left when you finish dismantling the last set of environmental protections? What time do you start composing your list of cruel things to do? Do you eat cereal with tiny green marshmallows? A few Pop-Tarts? Bagel with a schmear? Does someone make you poached eggs? Must be nice at $700 a carton. Mr. Musk, let me tell you about the rafts of scrambled eggs on the cafeteria floor at PS 67, one of the schools you probably shut down by now. The kids are so happy to eat breakfast, they can't keep their excitement or their eggs contained. Let me also tell you about doing therapy with a 4th grade girl conceived in a mental institution. She was more interested in my monogram tote bag than our pointless game of Jenga. She was too hungry to play. She ate my crackers 3 at a time. Mr. Musk, what I really want to know is, are you intoxicated by the music of whales, patches of moss, the taste of rain? Do you know about the gentle sway of underwater plants? If you could be a strain of toxic mold, which one would it be? What's your favorite punctuation mark? Did you set fires as a child? On Facebook, I saw a story about a man who rescued a kitten someone had glued to the road. It made me think of you, the glue part. Dear Mr. Elon Musk, there's a blessing for everything. Rainbows and bread, trees and earth, dusk, thunder, and pleasant smells. Leonard Cohen said there's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. But what I want to know is what would fall out if your own cruelty broke you open like a diabolical piñata. A soul, darkness and candy, some proof of your humanity. Elon, did you know ladies my age carry hard candy in our purses? I might give you a few because I'm trying to see the divine spark in everyone. I'm just not seeing it in you. So, I don't know.
Ron Colm is the author of 6 books of poetry, the most recent being Verities of Love, and 2 prose collections, as well as the book, The Plastic Factory, which was just published in Germany.
Thank you very much. Good to see everyone. I'll read 2 poems from my new book, The Verities of Love. And it follows perfectly. It's the person who just read. Pushing buttons in Silicon Valley. I was trying to get the elevator to move, but I wasn't having much luck. I was hoping to meet Elon Musk and find out more about his warning that killer robots are more dangerous than Kim Jong-un. It finally kicks into gear and rumbles unsteadily up to the 13th floor, where I discover a diorama of speeding Tesla sedans. A little boy is standing in front of it, staring, his mouth open. A guard comes around the corner and tries to shoo him away, but I plead with him to stop because I can clearly see the look of terror that's now etched on the young boy's face. And I'll just read one other short one called A Witness. Staked to a rock, Ares, the god of war, watches as God covers the world with a map. He sucks on his teeth, amazed. He then sees armies crossing borders that hadn't existed before, killing people for no good reason. At this point, he finally breaks into a smile. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Thanks.
Randy Hoffman is an East Village-based writer, journalist, and teacher who often produces work about motherhood, feminism, and education.
Okay, thank you for inviting me. So this piece is from my Horrible Jobs collection of writing, and it has 2 names, Red MAGA Hats and the unofficial name Mussolini Youth. Okay, you have to take off the red MAGA hats now. You can't wear them in class, I told the 2 strapping teenagers sitting at the end of the table. Want to wear one? Try it on, Giuseppe tried to egg me on. When I asked him, why do you like Trump so much? He replied, he's strong. Like Vladimir Putin, I asked, and he looked at me puzzled. Giuseppe was actually quite sharp, with one of the best commands of English in the class, so when I mumbled something about fascism under my breath, he laughed. I was teaching an English as a second language program to Italian high school students. The program ran during the summer, with the students spending alternate days visiting New York City sites, such as Times Square and Coney Island, alternated with the English classroom instruction. The class took place on the campus of an art college in Brooklyn, where the students slept in the dorms and ate in the cafeteria. A handful of year-round students, multicultural and often gender-neutral, were often seen traveling in clumps around the campus. For a classroom, I was given an art room and a dorm. Initially, there was no white or blackboard, no AV equipment, and no desks, only some wooden tables and a sink. Luckily, there was a wall of windows. I managed to wrangle a portable whiteboard on wheels and a projector to connect my laptop to so I could project material onto a blank wall. I configured the small tables into one large table, around which the 10 or 12 students sat. Giuseppe was a jock with very short, almost shaved light brown hair, who sat at the head of the table with his sidekick, Thomas. Thomas had floppy, dark, straight hair and was always on his phone. Unfortunately, most of the girls and other students tended to defer to these alpha males and never contested anything they said. This class all attended an aviation high school in Rome together, and many of them wanted to become pilots and join the Italian Air Force. The students complained unrelentingly about the presence of air conditioning, which I liked and had no control over. They came to class dressed in sweatshirt hoodies when it was 85 degrees outside. Unlike many of the community college students I teach during the school year, these upper middle class kids knew how to perform as students and weren't really that badly behaved, although they weren't particularly interested in anything I had to say. They did show some interest in American high schools and colleges and how they're structured. I kept it light. It was summer. They didn't need to score well in this class to enter college or pass to the next level. Their interests were mainly sports and food. All of the boys said, of course they could cook spaghetti carbonara. There were no tests, just the thin paper textbook provided by the company. I attempted to engage them and fill in the blanks while listening and played them song lyrics about New York City, or used interactive tasks where they worked together in groups and used their English. This was an advanced intermediate class, which meant they had quite a bit of English under their belt. In reality, there was a wide range of mastery. Gay people aren't human, Stefano remarked in the course of a discussion where I was talking about sights to see in the West Village where they were going the next day, including the Stonewall Inn. Giuseppe and Thomas nodded in agreement. When I immediately said, "This is an unacceptable statement. It's not okay to dehumanize anyone," Stefano gave his typical response, "The church." My perception has always been that the Catholic Church preaches to love your neighbors as yourself, not call them less than human. I was surprised no one said anything. In my community college class, a queer, articulate woman would have been verbally down his throat so fast, he would have been left wanting to hide under the table. But no one was out in this group, so I had to explain that in America, homophobia is akin to racism. Another time, at the beginning of a YouTube video, Kamala Harris popped up on screen asking for donations. Rocco asked, "Is that Biden's wife?" Previously, he had asked me, Trump or Biden. When I said Biden, he said, "Biden walks like a robot." When I began talking about the reasons for my decision, climate change and women's reproductive rights, the students looked at me in confusion. They were only interested in one-word jokes, not an actual policy discussion. I attempted to say something to the class the morning after Biden handed over the campaign to Kamala Harris, feeling it was an important day in American history. I was met with blank stares. They were slightly more interested in discussing the Olympics in Paris. On graduation day, everyone received an award in a makeshift ceremony. I was told to hand out the awards, so I tried to say positive things about each of them, such as, "Maria was diligent in her assignments," or "Chiara was kind and helpful." To my surprise, after the ceremony, Rocco said I was the best teacher and wanted me to pose for a picture with the class. I try to remember how young they are, that many high school students live in an echo chamber of the beliefs of their parents and immediate community. Hopefully, these teenagers will be exposed to a larger world of diverse opinions. Maybe being exposed to me, a liberal New York Jew, will be part of this awakening.
Is Andre Kadrescu here?
Haven't seen him, I don't think so.
Okay. Right. Judith Lee Herbert's chapbook, Songbirds, Kelsey Books, 2019, was a finalist in the 2017 Blue Light Poetry Chapbook Competition, and her poems have placed in various contests and appeared in numerous publications.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Larissa. This poem, I was honored that this poem placed in a contest last year through the Long Island Poetry and Literature Repository and was subsequently published. Abecedarian in black and white, auburn hair, glossy and sleek in a ponytail. She blows smoke into swirls above, holds the cigarette she's bummed on the bus to the demonstration in Albany from the handsome ex-soldier back from France. I see them as if in a film noir, meeting one another's eyes, greeting each other in glamorous black and white. He with the thin line across his chin, she intrigued by his rugged demeanor, not jaded, but slightly scarred. She's standing and he kids with her when she asks for his seat, laughs and offers her his lap. They marry 4 months later, their future not traditional, no white picket fence. He climbs over fences, leaflets factories, organizes picket lines. They ask of the world many questions. In dungarees and plaid flannel shirt, she remains committed to just causes, sings folk songs of grief and hope, strums her guitar. Together, they devote themselves to underdogs, the unseen, unserved, undone. Visit the dark side of human nature, risk all. They want people of color to have the same rights as whites, friends exed from jobs, homes, families, cities, life. Yet my parents survived, slightly scarred, as they fought zealously to repair the world. Thank you.
Janice Idis, winner of 2 O. Henry Prizes, is the author of 4 novels, including The Last Jewish Virgin and 2 short story collections, including The Celibacy Club. She has published fiction and essays in over 50 anthologies and many leading magazines, including The New York Times and Lilith.
Janice is unmuted. Janice, can you hear us?
Sorry, I have an external mic. I forgot to turn it on. Can you hear me now?
Sure can.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to start over. Thank you. I'm reading a very short scene from my epistolary novel in progress, meaning it's told in letters, and it's written from the future where humans live to a very old age. The excerpt is written by Betty Rue to Dorothy B., her former best friend, who dumped her way back during our pandemic, which was known as Pandemic 1. And there's a Golden Girls theme in the novel too, which you can tell from their names, Dorothy B. and Betty Rue. Dear Dorothy B., once upon a time, I would have simply typed your name into Google's search bar in order to find out if you're still alive and to learn as much as possible about your current life. But as you well know, I can't do that any longer. For one thing, like so many other search engines that have come and gone, Google no longer exists. Still, I'm going to find you, and I will use every tool available to me. The currently most used search engine, Look du Jour, doesn't contain those old sites that with a single click provided the entire universe with anyone and everyone's addresses, phone numbers, ages, children's names, monetary worth, real estate holdings, debt amount, academic records, social media history, sexual proclivities, porn and other addictions, marriages, divorces, and criminal records, whether we liked it or not. For so long, we were told by those self-aggrandizing, self-important billionaire tech bros whose words were gospel and prophecy to the many folks who idealized and idolized them that total transparency was the greatest thing since white bread and driverless cars. Anyone still valuing old-fashioned privacy was considered a fool, an out-of-touch Luddite, and worst of all, an impediment to humanity's march towards a glorious progress. But then the great event occurred, the day all of our screens went black, which was the end of the internet as we knew it. We were forced to ask ourselves whether everyone on the planet really needed to know every single thing about everyone else. If the online seller of a spice rack on Etsy had a gambling addiction or worked at an organization I didn't support, Was that really a reason for me not to buy their beautiful hand-painted spice rack that would fit so perfectly in my kitchen? Here's another thing we realized. Sometimes it's okay to have secrets. My friend Margie, whom I met not long after you ghosted me, had a daughter who spent 2 years in prison for passing bad checks. Thanks to Google, everyone who met them knew this. But after the great event, Margie and her daughter regained not only privacy, but agency. Suddenly, they had a choice about whom to tell, if anyone. As for me, back in grad school, I'd been arrested for drunken disorderly behavior. I'd gotten loud and tipsy one night with a group of friends in a suburban neighborhood, and an angry resident called the police. Finally, decades later, thanks to the great event, my hideous mugshot from that night was no longer instantly accessible to all. Not to mention that without total transparency, so many women were made instantly safer because violent exes could no longer find them so easily. Parents felt safer when not everyone knew where their children went to school and which after-school activities they participated in. In fact, we all felt liberated in various ways from what we now angrily called the tyranny of total transparency. Now, it was those billionaire tech bros who seemed like the out of touch fools. Love, Betty Rue.
Joanie HF Zosike, co-director of Dada New York, and she's a living theater veteran, publishes in print journals and online, acted in Zoe Beloff's film Time Forgotten, and will appear in Intergenerational Theater Labs Now and Then and Now at the Tank, New York City.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Wow, I think you ended a little early there. So my cohort is going to be starting early, and I don't know how many of them are here at the moment. We'll just play it by ear. This is not an introduction to my poem. Here is my poem. It's called Pitched and Brittle on the Griddle. I declare, Claire, I am not afraid. Every Claire I know impresses, no, inspires me to use declarative case. Case in point, I declare, Claire. Where, oh, where are we going, Claire? Where are we running? Why are we singing? Where can we stop to piss? Where can we lay our weary osteogenic necks? Our nodes are engaged in noticing dangers at every turn, yet we turn, defying peril, refuting reality, since nothing is real about this reality or its phantom finality. It's a fake, like its maker, a fraud like the fragile pretension of liberty. So, do we have the right to say, give me liberty or give me death? I'll take a breath, Claire. I'll breathe to keep singing with you, your graceful bird-like clarity and steel precision mind, your ability to analyze so minutely. I declare, Claire, I don't think I've gone crazy or stupid. You humble me. And I'm prepared, Claire. I repeat, I'm not scared, Claire. No, I don't want to die or be tortured, imprisoned, decimated, but what have I got to lose? If this is the accepted reality, I'll take the risk, knowing I can't run fast as I used to. But if they waste me, they will have to know they blew away one more old lady who still remembers how to shoot the sacred shit. And that's it, Claire, my dear. I declare. Gut so. Oh, what's happening here? Okay, I have Elizabeth Morse's name on the screen. That's rather strange. Not that she's on the screen, but Hello, everybody. Delighted to see you all here. This has been an incredible reading thus far. And I am sorry, I'm struggling to find a document here that will tell me who is up next. And I had it up, so.
I think it's Robert Roth. Sorry.
Oh, of course, it's Robert Roth. Robert Roth. But I still need to know what it says. So just give me one moment, please. We have time. Here it is. Thank you. Robert Roth is proud to be part of this day of affirmation and resistance. And I just have to add to Robert Roth's bio that if you've been around in the East Village or Europe or anywhere else on the planet, you probably have heard of Robert Roth. So here we go. This is going to be a film, a video, Jonathan?
That's right. Give me just 1 second and we'll get that up. Okay. Sorry, I was in the wrong tab.
Yeah, I understand. It's a little confusing back here. Please stand by. Okay. Thank you so much, Robert. It was really beautiful. Okay, I've been kind of scanning through to see who we got here, who's still here or who is here early. Actually, next up, we have Jessica Sloat. Is Jessica Sloat here? Can you make yourself visible, Jessie?
Okay, hi.
Ah,
Yep.
hi, how are you? Welcome. Jessica.
I've been listening
Yes.
for hours and coming in and out. And
No, okay, there you are, peekaboo. I'm going to read your intro. My dear friend Jessica Sloat is a co-founder of Loretta Auditorium, a collector of theater artists, and author of The Body of Loretta, 3 plays about the pornography of power, free will on the free market, and arousal in the public realm.
truth rises with a song. Melody pulsates in every life that is informed with purpose. Truth rises with a song. Melody pulsates in every life that is informed with purpose. Periods of fulfillment ring with sweet music. But at the turning points of history, the beat of a march must be heard. Eric Gutkind. At the turning points of history, the beat of a march must be heard, must be heard, must be heard, must be heard. You hear it? You hear it? Yes, it's coming. It's coming. Oh, it's coming. A great many people here in our country marching, marching under this banner. Without each other, we are nothing. Without each other, we are nothing. Without each other, we are nothing. We are nothing. Without each other, without some common dignity, we are nothing. We march for dignity. We march. We march. We march for human dignity. Human dignity for all. A great uprising. A great rising up. Call it Kuma. They call it Kuma. A great collective rising up. A great calling out, calling for the right to live with dignity. Calling for dignity, dignity for all. Dignity to support ourselves, support our families, support our friends, support our lovers, Sisters and brothers support each other. Around the world. Yes, it's coming. Stand together. Call out together. Summon, summon, summon. Summoning at the turning points of history. Pass the word. Pass the word. We stand for dignity. Dignity and non-violence. Dignity. Violence.
Thank you, Jessica. Jessica Sloat. Thank you.
The opportunity
Uh-huh.
to be in this wonderful.
Thank you. Okay. Next up. Oh, I'm gonna go crazy with this jams thing. Sorry, folks. After Jessica Sloat, we have coming at ya, Mirna Nieves. Yes, Mirna. Mirna, would you make yourself known?
I'm here.
I know, I saw you.
Thank you. Thank you
Welcome.
so much for this invitation. Good afternoon to all. I will read 2 poems.
Okay, Mirna, let me introduce you first, okay?
Yes.
Mirna Nieves is an award-winning writer who has published 6 books of poetry, prose, and essay, and recently a drama written with Robert Roth, La Soñadora y el Agente, The Dreamer and the Agent. Take it away.
Thank you. Both poems are about collective and individual resilience, I think, and they have to do in a way with the environment. After the event, after Hurricane Maria and other hurricanes, the roads are blocked in Puerto Rico today. No traffic lights whatsoever, anywhere. The kids cannot play in the street, they may fall into a ditch. A woman looks at the blue, infinite sky from the torn bedroom or her roofless home. A very old man waits for hours in line to fill a bottle with clean water. This is what my sister tells me, at the brink of exhaustion, unable to quit persisting because she has 2 teenage boys who always want to eat and sleep in a dry bed. This is what my cousin tells me near a leafless tree, the only standing one of her backyard. They buried their dead in the patios, but the TV says only 17 persons died. A president visits. A president jests while throwing paper rolls to the winds of despair. He does not know that the plants and flowers will grow back, that my sister's kids will go to college one day, that now the people of my land expect nothing from afar because in their hearts swell the courage to rebuild and look for themselves as the only ones that matter. The ones who will create another dream, a dream that will sustain the roots of the K-pop trees on a new earth. And the second poem in my apartment in New York, From My Window to the Universe, translated by Judith Escalona. Through a small cube of crystallized water, veiled by dust, distant though so near, I watch the rain fall below an infinite sky. It rains an early spring over the green leaves of the adjacent patio. It rains in the valleys of my conscience. Rays of timid light glisten among the drops. It is fertility announcing her hands of earth and water, nurturing my soul that thirsts for faraway rivers. I look sideways, the way one looks through a crack. I see the noble, the blessed rain, wash the backs of the sunflowers, the arms of the fig trees, the persevering ivy that climbs the edifices and feels the wounds of the bricks. It rains in the urban jungle of my existence. It is my fleeting kiss with nature. In the great city, this my fresh air, my only baptism in light. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I will unmute myself. Yes, thank you so much, Mirna. Thank you so much for being here. Your voice is precious.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh dear God. Help me, help me. I'm going to ask Sam Friedman to please reveal himself and open his mic. Are you still here, Sam?
I am here.
Ah, there you are. Hi, how you doing today?
I'm good.
Good to see you. I'm going to introduce you now, okay? Sam Friedman is a widely published socialist, poet, public health researcher, and harm reduction activist and advocate. Talk about resilience. Hi, Sam. Welcome.
Thank you, Joanie. It's really lovely to be here and to hear some of the really great stuff I've been hearing. I have a couple poems. The first one is called From Every River to Every Sea. A land with a people, coveted by another. A horn blows. Hospital walls come tumbling down. Children and adults, if lucky, flee. Elderly people, people just like me, watch in fear. Gaza, West Bank, Ukraine, Rojava, every people must be free. The next one is a quite recent poem. In response to some of the incredible anti-Semitic and other racist threats, this one points to something most people seem to have missed. It's called shame. Growing up in 1950s America, Auschwitz and the recent past, radios, TVs, and school holidays proclaimed the glories of our Christian nation. As a diminutive Jew, I walked menaced through schoolyards where loud and proud Christian boys teemed. and I had a good friendship end when Paul said, "I hate Jews," when we were 14. 2 nights ago, I watched 2 blowhards ambush a diminutive Jewish hero in the Oval Office. Heard Zelensky getting voice-blamed as lacking proper respect, lectured that he just didn't hold the cards. Today, as I contemplate how Israel, Russia, and the USA, butchers of Gaza, Bucha, and Fallujah, voted as one against Ukraine, I wonder which will run the race to gas up showers and ovens, and whether major Jewish organizations will urge me to go quiet to my doom. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam, for that. Okay, I'd like to now introduce our next reader, my longtime friend and village goddess, Mindy Levikov, multimedia performance poet, Mindy Levikov, whose new poetry collection is entitled The Frequency, originally came from Rockaway to try to disappear.
Thank you so much, Joanie. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I have a few poems. This one's called Lark. The discord in the crowd, the shabby walls I wear, the holes, the haves, the have-nots, the fear. To tremble off is not a chosen path, except I don't see and only hear the crash of thunder, dividing into splinters and unbundling and apart, tripping into place, confusions, company, running, rushing, without notice, without locus, without key, more lost when I can notice disconnection. And then to place a toe becomes a giant's stride and waits for ages, eons for another step to take a chance, and chance a step is brave, but face a wall and call it mine. It's not working. So moving on another way becomes a choice, an open heart. A lark becomes a voice. And this one is called Lailatul Qadr, or a night of power. Why, in a valley of lost sense, holding your hand, if we lose our fears, dreaming of deeper studies, wrists and ankles swim loose, palms and soles, psalms and souls, respect in the center, the one, the two, the many in my heart, and every you, all royal and real, of those last 10 holy days, stepping into gray and taupe, futures, disasters, chaos, lies, just forward the soldiers we are. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Joanie. Thank you everybody for being here and doing this important stuff. Thank you, beautiful.